Hello, and welcome to this episode of Dice Voyeurs. This is our last in our series of Indy PopCon wrap-up interviews, but this week we got to talk to Nolan Nasser, who is an artist that has worked on several different board games, and we actually met him at a con here in Houston.
Yeah, it was very strange.
At Comic Palooza, John wanted to go over and see, I quote, those mouse pads. And he went over, and they were game mats, mouse pads, all kinds of things. But the art was really, really cool. Lots of really cool light play. I love the very atmospheric art. And we got to look in, and they had games on their table that we had just backed or picked up through a Kickstarter. We had backed a game called Herbalism from a company called Deepwater Games on Kickstarter.
And I saw those at the table when we were looking at those pads.
Yeah, and John had ordered all the other games that they offered that we didn't already have. Well, actually, we didn't have any of them. We got all the games from Deepwater Games that were offered through the add-ons for the Kickstarter. And I was like, we just picked these up. Well, turns out this guy is
the artist, or
essentially
one of the people.
He's one of the guys of Deepwater Games. And he had done art for, because he was selling his art, but he was also promoting Deepwater Games, which is based in Austin, which is not super far from Houston, and so kind of local. But yeah, and we found out, and talking to him, because the game mat that we grabbed, that I gravitated toward, was one that looked like an old library, kind of had like an eldritch symbol on the floor.
Yeah, very Lovecraftian, and
very Lovecraftian,
had a great atmosphere to it for the kind of games we love.
Right, and he goes, well, that was the inspiration for this. Have you ever heard of the game Fate of the Elder Gods? Well, yeah, we backed that one on Kickstarter too. So it was really cool getting to talk to him, and it turned out that 2 weeks later he was going to be at Indy PopCon. So John, during one of the days at the show, skedaddled across the floor, and he went and found Nolan and had a good little chat with him. And so it's really cool that we're meeting some really neat people that we are now going to look for at conventions and try to meet up with other times.
And Nolan is a really nice guy. I just want to say you really should go by his table, take a look at his wares, and talk to him, because meeting an artist that is just really down to earth and fun to talk to is a big deal for me at cons. I love that.
Yeah, you can check out his website at n3art.com, but it's great stuff. Yeah. And the game mats and mouse pads, very soft, very we need to get ours. Well, as soon as we get our gaming table, I think our Eldritch mat is going to be out on it all the time. So very cool stuff. But do you have some trivia for us?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, because part of what we know Nolan for is tabletop gaming and board game art, I was looking up to see what is the oldest board game known to man. Now, there are several out there that kind of compete, but the game that is the oldest one that they have found, as far as historically found this board game or found art on the wall, people playing it, is called Senet.
Yes, the Egyptian.
Yeah, S-E-N-E-T.
It almost looks like chess from the art. I was looking at the art. It's pretty cool. It's kind of it's this definitely Egyptian art, but there's clearly a table set up and there's pawns on it. So, yeah.
But they have found artifacts relating to it from 3100 BC.
Wow!
So that is amazing.
And see, and one of the ones that I was showing you before the show started was a game called Hounds and Jackals that was from 13th Dynasty in Egypt.
Wow! And
it kind of looks like. I didn't get a whole lot of details about the game, but imagine like a Parcheesi board or like the peg game that you get at Cracker Barrel. And instead of golf tees, they're like carved, perhaps bone or ivory. Some of them have hound heads on the top, and some of them have jackal heads on the top. But they're little, and they stick in little holes, and you move them around the board. And it was very interesting to
play it, but it looked really cool.
Yeah, it looked neat. So,
all right, well, thanks, guys, and enjoy the interview.
So, hi, this is John with Dice Voyeurs, and I am here with
Nolan Nasser.
You have a company that's N3, right?
Yeah, N3 Art is my own personal brand. It's the company that I make all my art under and everything like that. And then I also run Deepwater Games, which is my publishing company.
Sweet. And I actually backed Deepwater Games, and people probably saw that on my feeds because I backed Herbalism.
Thank you so much, John.
I don't see that out here. Instead, you have your these are mats from prints that you've done.
Yes,
like
exactly.
That, right?
So I do all my own original artwork, and then I put them all on like play mats, mouse pads, that sort of stuff. So, John, when I was going to college and everything, I spent a lot of time gaming. I spent a lot of time playing Magic. I spent a lot of time playing computer games, but I was also really interested in art, and so naturally the intersection of those two things was I started creating my own original artwork and then putting it on playmats and mouse pads and things like that for my friends, and then eventually it evolved into something that I could turn into a business.
That is amazing. I think that's everybody's dream in the market themselves.
Definitely.
I love the prints, the colors and what you've got out here and what you've chosen. I love it. We actually bought some when you were at Conapalooza. You're doing the con circuit right now and touring.
Oh, yeah.
What other conventions are you going to be going to?
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to Origins next weekend, and then I've got a small break, and then eventually Gen Con and Dragon Con and all sorts of other conventions.
Right. Yeah, so my wife and I, when we saw you at Conapalooza, she absolutely fell in love with these. I mean, she saw this one here, which was a print for another Kickstarter that you did.
Yeah, so this is actually one of my few pieces that I've done for board games. It's from a board game called Fate of the Elder Gods, which is published by Greater Than Games. Mm-hmm. If you're familiar with board games, you'll know them. They make Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, they're going to be big at Gen Con this year.
Oh yeah,
they're doing a big thing there.
Very much so. Yep.
Wonderful. And so, she loved it. And she was looking at the art, and she loves the color and the way that you've done a lot of your prints. There was a game out there. It's called, there's Trine and Magica and all these with these very ethereal colors and look to them. And immediately she was just like, I got to have it.
Oh my gosh. That's such a huge compliment.
Yeah, but we absolutely love it. And
Thank you.
So you got mats out here that are like tournament card style size.
Yep.
And you also have the mouse pads.
Yep.
And then you also have the prints.
And then I prints as well. Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Nolan, it was great to see you here, and I love talking to you. And we hope to see you again on the concert. So
likewise,
thank you so
John.
much.
Thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with me.
You've been listening to Dice Foyers. Please subscribe to get our episodes as soon as they release. For more information about us, check out PassionNerdly.com, at PassionNerdly on Twitter and Instagram, as well as Facebook.com/PassionNerdly. Also, if you're interested in supporting our show, look us up at Patreon.com/PassionNerdly. Once again, thank you for listening.
This has been a production of the Southgate Media Group. For more podcasts like this one, head over to SouthgateMediaGroup.com.